The Avengers Secret Wars movie that we're going to get in about 2 years from now is way different than what Marvel Studios originally had planned for Avengers Secret Wars. You see, originally Michael Waldron, who wrote Loki and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, he was supposed to write Avengers The Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. That was announced by Marvel. It was official until Marvel Studios brought back the RUSSO brothers to direct Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, and they brought along with them Robert Downey Jr. returning as Doctor Doom, replacing Kang, and then they brought Stephen McFeely with them, their writer who wrote with them on Avengers Infinity War and Endgame and Captain America the Winter Soldier and Civil War, a great writer. Now, that writer is working with Michael Waldron. Michael Waldron is helping Stephen McFeely and the RUSSO brothers, but the original story for the Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars was very different than what we're about to get in a couple of years. But we do have a report about what the original Secret Wars was going to be. This, of course, involves Kang the Conqueror. So what could have been if none of that I just mentioned happened? Well, according to this report, this is what could have been. This is the original story for Avengers Secret Wars. According to MaxBlizz.com, this is the report. They state, the first announced Marvel's Avengers Secret Wars, based on a script penned by Michael Waldron, was canceled after Kang the Conqueror storyline was completely scrapped. The original ending of Avengers The Kang Dynasty, Beyonder and Kang, had created Battleworld by merging multiple timelines and realities. He ruled this new realm, Chronopolis, and its supreme leader. The surviving heroes and Avengers, including Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider, Deadpool, Wolverine, the Fantastic Four family, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and Miss Marvel, are imprisoned by Beyonder and Kang, who reveals that each of them has a prime variant, the greatest version of themselves in the entire multiverse, with Tom Holland's Spider-Man being the prime Spider-Man destined to defeat Kang. Meanwhile, he who remains a heroic Kang variant and Doctor Strange rally the heroes in Battleworld to fight the Beyonder and reclaim the Negabands and 10 rings. So, stopping right here for a brief moment, the prime variant sounds a lot like anchor beans. With Deadpool and Wolverine, we obviously learned that there was a superior Wolverine out there, and there were definitely inferior Wolverines as well. So this kind of seems to follow almost the same premise of that. Anchor beans, prime variants, they seem to kind of be the same. And we've been thinking for a while that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is indeed the anchor being of our universe. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case originally as well. They're just taking this previous concept and bringing it into the new concept of anchor beans. And we did hear before about what the Kang Dynasty was about to be. I did a whole video on that. You can check it out if you'd like, but this does pick up after the ending of that. So there's Beyonder and there is Kang. There were early reports that we heard from many insiders that said there was going to be a Kang variant that was also the Beyonder. So whether they're one and the same or two different beings, it ultimately doesn't matter at this point because it doesn't seem like they're going to do that for Avengers Secret Wars now, although Marvel recently did kind of tease a fan poster that had the Beyonder on it. We'll have to wait and see on that, but this is apparently what was going to be. So it says, and this is very interesting, Robert Downey Jr. returns as Superior Iron Man from Earth 818. Who conspires to steal the Beyonder's powers for himself. Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson also reprise their roles as variants of Captain America and Black Widow in Battleworld. Now, Chris Evans is pretty much confirmed to be coming back at this point in time. We have heard some reports about Black Widow returning as well. But Robert Downey Jr., keep in mind, he said himself that for, it seems like 2 years before the announcement that he was returning as Doom, Marvel had already contacted him to return in some way, shape, or form. Marvel's already admitted that. And Robert Downey Jr. has already said that he tried to convince the RUSSO brothers for over a year to actually return. And then I think from there, they worked on an idea for a while, and then they finally announced it at San Diego Comic-Con. So it was a while. I think about 2 years they were planning this. So he could have originally been coming back in Avengers Secret Wars, which, yeah, if Natasha Romanoff is returning, if Steve Rogers is returning, it would make sense to have a variant of Tony Stark. And those actors, Scarlett Johansson, Chris Evans, and Robert Downey Jr., they would return to play those roles. It makes sense. So that would be really cool. And that's something that fans have really been wanting, a superior Iron Man. And it goes on and it says several pre-MCU actors would have returned, including Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Patrick Stewart, Nicolas Cage, Ian McKellen, and Miles Teller. Additionally, Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen from the Spider-Verse were also being considered. Kevin Feige did confirm that. He did confirm that he wants Miles in the MCU, but until after Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out, Miles can't come to the MCU. Well, Avengers Secret Wars comes out after Beyond the Spider-Verse. So there's still a chance that both of those characters, or at least Miles, could show up in our new version of Avengers Secret Wars that we're getting. But it continues and it says Superior Iron Man ends up helping stop and kill Beyonder and Kang, absorbing their powers. Now, possessing the powers of the Beyonder, Superior Iron Man betrays the Avengers and heroes. This sets up a climactic battle between the Chosen One, the strongest anchor being in the multiverse, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and Superior Iron Man. That would be a heck of a battle, and I see what they're doing there, right? Because it was about Tony and Spider-Man before, and now it's Superior Iron Man versus Spider-Man. And I've always said, even now, I still say, because there's going to be a scene in Doomsday or Secret Wars where Peter Parker sees Doom, but he looks exactly like Tony Stark, and it's going to get really emotional and hard for Peter Parker. Eventually, of course, he realizes it's not the same person, and the variant isn't even close to what Tony Stark was actually like. But I do think it's going to be pretty emotional and pretty heavy when we get to that scene, whether that's in Doomsday or Avengers Secret Wars. It says Spider-Man and the heroes win, but the multiverse is still collapsing. So He Who Remains and the TVA merge all the dying universes into one, including the MCU, the X-Men universe, and the Fantastic Four universes. The result is a soft reboot that establishes a new continuity where mutants have always existed. The Fantastic Four are the first family of heroes, and some MCU heroes are rebooted/recast. The story culminates with He Who Remains policing the new multiverse. Marvel president Kevin Feige and Waldron initially wanted to split it into 2 films due to how sprawling the story is. So this is probably a decent amount of what was actually going to happen in the movie. I think in this, it sounds like the Beyonder and Kang were indeed going to be one person, which again, we had been hearing reports about that before. So clearly that was their original plan, to have Kang and the Beyonder at least be one in purpose. If they are 2 different people, they were working on the same thing. And it almost seems like, you know, Kang was Doom and the Beyonder was Molecule Man, if we were taken from the Secret Wars comics. I still do want to see what Kang would have done. And it would have been cool to see Robert Downey Jr. return as Superior Iron Man. And I'm sure that was actually really what they were discussing until Kevin Feige went, you know what? No, we're moving away from Kang, because according to reports, according to Marvel Studios themselves, they were already planning on moving away from Kang before the Jonathan Major stuff happened. Now, originally, Kang was not going to be the big bad, but they said after Loki, they decided to make him the big bad. So I don't know how that works, right? I don't know if they're just backtracking, covering the tracks, whatever you want to call it. But it seems like there was a version of Robert Downey Jr. returning while Kang was still there, and this could very well be that version. But then they pivoted and had Robert Downey Jr. return as Doom. And it is the multiverse, so it was possible. And I thought it was really cool when they revealed Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. You can call it cheap, you can call it what you want. I thought it was really cool, and we'll see if he is the main Doom moving forward into the new universe. I will say the end of this is probably going to be pretty similar to what we get at the end of Avengers Secret Wars, the one we're actually getting in a couple of years. It's going to be a new universe that has multiple universes combined into it, and it basically is a reboot/soft reset of the MCU, and Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige already confirmed this. And from there, we get everything we've ever wanted. We get the Fantastic Four, X-Men, the Avengers. We could have the Inhumans in there, the Defenders, Midnight Suns, just literally everything. And then that lets Marvel recast characters like Captain America, Iron Man, Black Widow, the Hulk. It's going to be, from what we've heard, it's going to be like 65% the same, which I think is good. But then the rest is going to be new, which I also think is really good. And Avengers Doomsday, I've said this before, but I'll say it again in case you didn't hear it, in case you need a reminder. Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars is the culmination of everything Marvel, not just like phase 4, 5, and 6. It's the combination of everything before. We could get such old characters. I mean, look at Deadpool and Wolverine. We already got Blade back and Elektra, right? They're way prior MCU. So this really is about to be just super huge. This clearly is very different than what we're about to get in Avengers Secret Wars. It seems like we truly are getting a battle world in the new version of Secret Wars based on what we've heard about Avengers Doomsday. But obviously the Kang Dynasty was going to be crazy different than Avengers Doomsday was going to be. So all of the story really in general changed. But this reportedly was what we might have gotten. So if we did get this, would you have liked it? That is my question to you. Please let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Marvel videos. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.